Ladies and gentlemen, another Cosmonarchy cast brought to you by ProTOSS. Hey, we got some players here to introduce, but can I just say thank you to everybody who has donated for the Acropolis 4 prize pool and who continues to donate following that for other events. We are now raising money for Weekend Wage, our bi-weekly competitive 1v1 cup. Since the Acropolis season is over, we can go back into those more regular events where we just kind of, whoever's around and wants to compete tries to do so. Each event is usually $50, so for the month of August, if you guys want to donate the prize pool of those events, you know, $50 each, we do 2 a month. That's the kind of vibe that we're at. So if you want to start putting that in early, streamlabs.com/ProTOSS or the coffee link that's in the bottom right of your screen and in the description box is a good way to send those donos in. Just let me know what it's for, and I will go ahead and do that through the coffee. But if you go through the Streamlabs link, I know what it's for, and so it's a little bit easier in that way. Anyway, we do have a cool Askosi versus PROTOSS match up here. I was going to say we don't typically see this, but that would be a lie because Acropolis number 4 had Askosi versus PROTOSS in a few different matches. It also has had AVZ, it had a few AVT, and of course only, I think, 2 AVA matches the entire tournament. Very unfortunate we didn't get to see the mirror. But yeah, a nice widespread of different matches here on the ProTOSS channel. We are on Knife's Edge, a port of Dominator by Jujic. So if you know Dominator from ASL, from Starcraft Remastered, this is that same map just ported to our environment where we use different tiles, and obviously we need the Vespine Ridges in here as well. So a couple of small changes like that overall. And we have Sosij as the yellow PROTOSS at the 3 o'clock position. It is Deus Vulture, of course, that is God Wheat, the Wheat of God in the top left. I'm going to say he is Vivid Orange Askosi. And he's gone for a Radix, a second Radix, and a Gauntlet. So no extra landlock, which is kind of interesting. This might be a Vicar Rush, dare I say, because of the extra Radix count early. But your landlocked town center as the Askosi builds your workers, and then once you build a Radix or function, one of your production structures, equivalent to like a barracks or factory in StarCraft 1 Terran, right? Except for the fact that in Cosmonarchy, you don't need the barracks to build a factory, so it's a little bit different. But a basic production structure, right? Once you build one of those, then as the Askosi, you can make a military unit from your town center. It's called the Proselyte. It has some combat utility. It has some out-of-combat utility as well. Instead, there's a power building going on for this Chantry. Missionaries in the front gates. He's going to use a different tactic here to try to deal with the Drakodin. It's still going to get focused down, of course, that worker, but maybe there's something to this idea, right? You build a Chantry early on, it provides some healing out of combat. It also permacloaks your units until their first attack. And so while these Drakodins are pressuring the front, it looks like there's going to be a dirty run-by here. I think the Chantry's just going to get blown up, though. And yeah, I think Godwheat's realizing this. He's like, wait, I messed up. Hold on. No. Say psych right now. And it looks like the Drakodins will be surprised by that attack. But is it really going to be enough for the Askosi to kill both Drakodins and deny further damage to the Chantry? One missionary has already gone down. Make it 2 as a third Drakodin arrives on the front gates. And it will be some time before they can actually get their cloak off. There it is. There are more missionaries, but it does look like this will be the end for that Chantry, as it does not repair itself. It only heals other units. Vicars are on the field. 1 is done, 2 more in production, 2 more Radixes as well. And so that is going to be a bit of a surprise. He pulls the missionaries to make them all get sped up a little bit, but he's not going to be able to give chase against that Drakodin. No orb blocking on the Vicar to constantly apply the slow effect that it has on hit. And it looks like this is a different look to how PROTOSS go for that early aggression with Drakodins and how Godwheat has tried to stop it. Chantry is going to be something of an expenditure to have to rebuild after that, and it does look like Sosij has done the classic move of forgetting where his rally is. Absolutely annihilated. So we will not see that 5th Drakodin on the defense. Ardent Authority coming. He's making some Zealots. I think that will be sufficient. And I like the idea of like a pylon out here. Maybe not the Warden, though. Hard to say. As of right now, it doesn't look like Godwheat's moving across the map, so obviously, eco advantage will be to the PROTOSS. You look at this Nexus timing and say, okay, that's going to work out better. And of course, the worker count in general is a little bit reduced, but he has. It's weird, right? He's done the extra Radix, which I think you needed that unit production rate in order to survive the early game. He's tech rushed up to the Gauntlet. He's had to make a second Chantry. It just looks a little bit odd because he doesn't have that second landlock that most Askosi players build in the early game, so he can't power on workers as much. And so the question has to be asked, like, what do we even do here Exactly. So these are just these are thoughts that I have, you know. So we'll see how it scales up because a second Ardent is coming. We have a Bulwark in production for detection and that shield sustain that it provides. It's like a nifty utility-oriented shield battery, right? But it constantly heals shields in a radius around it. Vicars are going to announce themselves, the missionaries as well, serving as a pseudo frontline for Anti-Zealot, because the splash damage the Vicar does deal splash to friendlies. Now it's just Vicars. We have one missionary coming up. The Bulwark will immediately be focused down, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, the Vicar spam is going to be good enough, it seems. He's going to have to keep pulling whenever the Dracodons fire, because otherwise he will not be able to dodge the projectiles. Every time he pulls when there are projectiles on the way, he is dodging them. Unfortunately, though, the Akantor is going to get jumped on immediately. Can the Vicars continue their move? It doesn't look like we had the greatest pull and response here for Sosij, and now he's going to have to send those workers after them. Dracodon spawning out. This should clean this up. We don't have any more units coming behind this for Godwheat, and he's still going to end up losing a couple of combat units here, it looks like, at the end. But yeah, it's all done. It's all wrapped up, and that will be the hit taken care of. So we take a look at the Askosi base after that. It doesn't feel like he did enough economic damage to really get out of that situation, right? It's so hard to deal with all those Askosi, says Alexander. I don't know if he's being facetious or what, but yeah, that's kind of a funny comment to make when, you know, you got like 10 more workers than your opponent. You got the tech available here as well. He's not particularly rich in the moment, but I don't think he's in a lot of danger. Maybe Godwheat can convince me otherwise, waypointing more Vicars and missionaries across. Looks like a Pilgrim will take that mineral only as the third base, so maybe there's a little bit of tempo switching. But Sosij just caught typing. It don't make sense. Don't it? Maybe he doesn't know he's got an eco lead. I feel like he should know, though. His Nexus was done, and his Dracodons were able to break that Chantry. He could have probably scouted the expansion at any time. An attempted dodgeball here, and the Dracodons should be out in front, but they aren't, so the Akantor doesn't even get another shot off. Oh, it's coming down to some micro mistakes here. The workers once again being pulled. Akantor does spawn in the perfect position to clear some of these units. Oh, he turns around and targets the wrong Vicar, which dies anyway to friendly splash and scribe attacks. Well, that could have been a lot cleaner there for Sosij, but even still, that will be a wrap. Now the workers can get back to mining. And did he pull all the workers from the main base? He did. Sosij, my. Well, the worker lead is a lot tighter now, a lot thinner, I suppose, of a margin. This is some bullshit, he says. Well, I don't know. I'm looking at this like so obvious skill issue. What's going on here? And the players seem to not agree with me just yet. Looks like, yeah, no mineral-only base here for Godwheat. He wants the gas. He's the gas of God. He's the wheat of gas. Prosceniums are coming up. We will be having that tier 2 available for the Askosi. And I mean, I guess in theory, like, the Akantor stack could come up to a point where it's able to contend with a bunch of Aphorists or whatever, but Akantors don't have the best armor, and Aphorists do full damage to them because of their one armor pen, so that's going to be a hard one. That is going to be a hard one. I could have used this game maybe a little bit more podcast-oriented here in my tenor if I wanted to. I could have used this match to talk a little bit about my ideas for like changes to the Askosi race, but I think at least for this particular match, it's been a little bit more action-packed, and it's interesting to see a different approach to how the Askosi are being used. Like, that's what Godwheat's kind of doing here. This is not something that we typically see, but that reminds me of Akantor versus Eidolon, dude. That's nasty. Zealot's definitely forcing a bit of an arc here. Definitely a good move from Godwheat. Good micro at the end there after taking his foot off the gas to go back at home and macro up or what have you. Slamlock is coming along nicely inside the third base at 10 o'clock, but yeah, he's taking a lot of hits here. Sending more Pilgrims across. Some Aphorists have hit the field, and that's going to really allow him to turn a different level on here, right? As the army scales up, the Akantors are going to be harder to dodge, though, so that's also something to keep in mind. You want like a really widespread surround collapse, like tighten the noose kind of vibe, is what it feels like. Definitely something I want to keep working on are the audio visuals for the Askosi. I think we saw some really nice improvements to the biotic units. and I'm just going to have to keep on keeping on in that department, you know, remodeling some of their more egregious units that are not very nice to look at, shall we say. Zealots are taking a lot of pepper to bring down, so they're getting under the front line there, and definitely going to do some friendly splash damage to those Vicars. One of them dies to that very thing. He's got some Vicars. Oh, he goes in for the pull. What a god, Wheat. Unbelievable. He snuck them in. There was a witness and everything. The bulwark was being remade, and it wasn't quite available. A nice sneaky play to start hitting the Nexus. The slow crawl of the Cantors. It might not be enough to actually break this Nexus, but I'm thinking it's pretty deadly. This is pretty scary for the PROTOSS to suddenly have to deal with. That is a real nifty harassment move. Even if he doesn't get it, which it looks like he should be able to focus it down the last few of his units. Sniping the main Nexus. What a ridiculous play. Moments before disaster when those Vicars popped in on screen cloaked by the Chantry. Oh, it's brutality. That's what I want to see Askosi players doing, dude. That's exactly what I want to see Askosi players doing. You heard it here first. Ooh, absolutely devastated. I was talking about, like, what might be the move to do. And, you know, the question is, like, how do we actually get the Askosi players to do more hit-and-run tactics? Well, just have them watch Godweek games, obviously. Listen, Shopkeeper Dog, he got pretty far into the tournament for Acropolis 4, right? He got into the top 4. I'm not going to say which placement, you know, spoil avoider or whatever, but he got into the top 4 with the new race. That's pretty commendable. That's pretty respectable. But Godweek's the most Askosi player, that's for sure. I can say that without any consternation, without any sarcasm. Shopkeeper Dog is the most Terran Askosi player, which means he's also the winningest. Don't confuse what I'm saying. Godweed is not the winningest Askosi player, but he is the most Askosi player. He's also losing units to the Nexus here, but he is still sniping that third base. I think at this point, you know, we've seen enough damage be dealt to the PROTOSS that they're barely hanging on. This looks very uncharacteristic for how this matchup typically goes, and I'm sure part of it is just like, you know, familiarity with the race. Trying a different Cantor-based style is also kind of a different look than what is typical for this matchup. So both players doing something a little off the meta, and I like that. That's pretty nifty. But in this particular collision, Godweed seems to have come out on top. At least that's what it looks like right now. But of course, the final blow has yet to be struck, and the Cantors can certainly blow their way out of a lot of bad situations with all of that munitions they are holding. 2 more Prosceniums and 4 Panoplies coming up as the Vestirian Conduit are completed. And of course, we have base number 4 coming up at 9 o'clock. The Askosi army still wandering around here, seeing what it can find. The missionary that was left on the cliff was surveying the battlefield, giving the field reports to Pronogo while casting. You know, he's my eyes and ears. Sosij just killed him, so now I'm nerfing Toss. The first Zealot is a casualty. We don't have a great, you know, number of Acantors anyway, right? It's only 6. This feels like it'll be too many Askosi units for the small Acantor ball to actually defend. Oh, man. It's a cinematic end to the worms. They don't even fire their salvos in their correct direction. This is so unbalanced. I know, Sosij, I know. GG. It's over. Godweed has broken the mind of the PROTOSS. Askosi are OP, and the PROTOSS will never recover. So why don't we nerf them? GG's. We'll be back with more Cosmonarchy after this tomorrow. So subscribe if you're not already aware of that. And I will see you guys tomorrow. GG.